Hello? Can you guys hear me? Can you hear me, Victoria? Can you hear?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, thank God. Okay. These things always make me so flipping nervous. So that someone's not gonna hear, or I'm not gonna hear somebody or something. Awesome. Yay. One thing done. Hang on. Thank you guys for coming.
Yeah.
Do we know if other people are coming as well?
Looks like we had a few, at least a few events. RSVPs, that's the word I'm looking for.
Yes, well, I am hopeful. I'm going to pop over there super quick and make sure.
And then I would tilt your camera down if you can. I'm only seeing the top half of your face when you scoot in that close.
How's that?
It's a little bit better, but I still see several inches of space above your head.
Okay, then I will rearrange some things. Hang on real quick. Well, y'all are going to have to carry the water then if there's only like 2 or 3 of you. Y'all going to have to ask enough questions to keep me from freaking out. Whoa. Nobody else showed up. Gosh, I don't know what is in this box that I've been sitting on. Okay, how's that? Is this better?
Trial.
Kind of, sort of, a lot.
Yes, much better. There we go. We can see your whole face.
And now you see all the crap in the floor behind me, but that's okay. We're just going to do that. Like that's not there.
That's real life.
Yes, Lord, yes. All right, hang on one second. Let me figure out.
Trial.
Oh, okay. Did that.
Trial.
You guys having fun? What's everybody doing today?
Trial.
Trial. Y'all hear that?
I think it's coming from Lynn's side. I'm not sure.
Oh, dear Lord. And what do we think that might be? I'm just curious. Okay, if it acts all goofy crazy again, I'm gonna get off and get back on. Where's that? Oh, goodness gracious. That's not making me a happy girl. I'm sorry, y'all. I talk to myself. I talk to my computer. I talk to my dog. Talk all the time, so.
Oh, I do the same thing.
Okay, good, because y'all are going to be like, oh, my gosh, she's insane. Like, who the heck made her think she should be doing this thing? Okay. And let's post. And Kellyanne had a car accident.
Oh no, is she okay?
Yeah, she said she was fine. She just sent me the link about 2 hours ago, and she's like, can you put this in the group? She said, I'm just a little shaken up. I'm like, well, sure.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I don't know if there's a way to, like, ooh, gross, what is that? Okay, if there's a way to do anything with the folks that are invited, do you guys know? Is there like something I can send to remind them or something?
You can just post in the event itself. If you're a host of it, you can send like a message to all people who said they were going, but I don't know if you're a host or if just like Rachel.
Yeah, just Rachel and Kellyanne. So,
That's what I was going to suggest. Just put something in the event on Facebook reminding people that we're ready to start soon.
yeah, yes. The only thing is that I was not able to put a link into the event itself again because I'm not a host. So
No, I got your link.
did you? I just was posting it down at the like underneath the thing. Okay, that's cool. Well, it's not like I'm not happy y'all are here. If it sounded like that, I apologize because I am very happy y'all are here. So it's about 1:01. Do you guys want to wait one more minute and see if anybody else shows up, or you think we should just get started?
We could maybe post it in SMU. Post the link or the link to the event and say, hey, we're starting. Come join us.
This is true. I think I did that though. Hang on one second. So it's inside the group, right? Because that's the only people that are supposed to be able to come here, right?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
This is Melanie, and someone else has signed in on my Zoom on my phone. I'm showing up as Women's Power Networking. So if that's confusing you, it's really me.
Is it confusing you as well?
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, well, we can just get started, guys. If you all are ready. I guess I need to queue up my little PowerPoint. Y'all, I hate PowerPoint. I hate it like I can't even begin to tell you. I use them because they keep me from forgetting what I'm doing, but in general, I hate them. So you're going to see this. You're going to think, oh my God, she wrote a freaking novel on those slides. But no, I have no intention of reading all of those slides to you. So fear not. Let me get that queued up right now, guys. Can everybody see it? Can everyone see the slides?
Yep.
Perfect. Okay. This is me, very simply. I did just want to tell you guys just a few things about why I actually know a little bit about what I'm talking about when it comes to traditional marketing and traditional media. I have sold Yellow Pages for Bell South. Was the Rookie of the Year in the Southeast region. I sold television and did television promotions for Time Warner cable ad sales. I worked for the Thomas Register, which was a huge library book of industrial directories. I both wrote and sold ads for a small tabloid type magazine in northern Atlanta. I've sold sponsorships, I've sold exhibit booths, I've created and executed large expos, which comes with media from exhibitor prospectuses to press releases. I worked for the Washington, D.C. Convention and Visitors Bureau, and then a couple of years later came back with another company and sold ads in their visitor's guide. And I also was the head of a project launch at U.S. Airways, a marketing launch for the association, the CDB markets. So I have been involved in traditional media as long as I have with digital media. So just so you guys think that, you know, I didn't pull all this stuff out of wherever. Which is which? A lot of people are confused. So traditional marketing is basically what you guys think it is. It's television, it's radio, it's magazines. It's basically anything that's not social or digital. So we know that the digital and the social stuff are all the platforms that we deal with, geo tagging, messaging. Video is one of those gray areas like websites, email marketing, and blogging. Melanie, who is on this call, is Women's Power Networking, and I are working on actually a conference that talks about traditional marketing, and we've come to the conclusion that we don't believe that email marketing is considered social media marketing. We don't really consider it even digital marketing. We think it's a little bit in that no man's land. So that's why we're going to talk about that really briefly, but I kind of want to let you guys know. Same thing with blogging. The blog itself is probably not digital marketing the way you put the information out there that you have a blog is, so that probably falls a little heavier toward the digital social media marketing side perhaps than the email marketing does. And then websites. I don't necessarily consider websites a digital or social media marketing. It is in a way that it's a digital brochure, but it is also something that people use as a search engine. It's not push marketing. And most of the marketing that we deal with in social and digital is push marketing. So just kind of want to let you guys know that those things are sort of on the periphery for us. I know that this is not a good quality, but you guys have seen this before, I'm sure. And I just think that this sort of illustrates a little bit about what we're going to talk about. So you guys are like, I'm a social media manager. Why in the world do I care about newspaper ads? Why do I care about traditional marketing? I think it's really, really important if you're going to be the most effective marketing person that you can be for your clients, that you have a holistic view of what they do as far as their marketing goes. The first thing is that even the young people understand traditional marketing as you talk about it a lot easier than they understand digital marketing, because digital marketing changes. Different people call things in digital marketing different things. So almost everybody understands if you say a magazine, or if you say a newspaper, or if you say television. So you should know enough to be able to carry on a conversation, because it can help you make things make sense for the folks that you're talking to. They're already spending their time and their money on traditional advertising. Even if they tell you, oh, we don't advertise. If you notice that Chamber of Commerce plaque up in their office, or if you go to their website and have the little seals of the associations and things they belong to, that's advertising, okay? They have business cards with their logos on them. It's advertising. So they're already participating, even if they're not even aware that they are, in traditional advertising. And most importantly, I found that the more you know, the more questions that you can answer for them, the less other people they are going to turn to for advice, and the less likely you are to lose them to the other marketing person that comes around that can answer their questions about other things besides Facebook. Okay, does that make sense? Why some clients are afraid of social media and digital marketing, and why they put so much trust into traditional marketing. The average consumer, 10,000 advertising marketing messages a day. You guys have probably seen that. A lot of folks are becoming increasingly uncomfortable with the fact that they look at a Wayfair ad on Tuesday, and then every time they open their phone, whether it's to check email or to look up directions, they have another Wayfair ad, right? So some people are starting to get a little creeped out about the big brother nature of social and digital marketing. Facebook is also sort of the poster child for fake news with the whole Russian scandal influencing, which I have other feelings about, but that makes a lot of people super uncomfortable. They don't trust what they see on Facebook. They don't trust what they see on the internet. A lot of marketers still use very clickbaity sort of stuff, and it just makes some people afraid that they're not sure where their ads are going to show up. I had someone, tell me that they were watching a friend of theirs YouTube ad, and then the very next ad it served up was of questionable content. And people are afraid that they're going to be in that position. A lot of people aren't large consumers of social media themselves. So if you don't use something, back to that, you're not familiar with it, you're not comfortable with it, why in the world are you going to sink a bunch of money into it? And lastly, people who are doing traditional advertising already are doing it because in some form or fashion it works for them. Even if it's just an ego thing. Back when I sold television, I had a little old guy who had a little bitty store, and I don't know how in the world that he even stayed in business, but that man bought ads for me, not big, maybe a flight of maybe 2 a day or something, but he bought them. And he bought them because every Sunday when he went to church, the little old ladies would say to him, I saw you on television. Okay. So it was working for him from an ego standpoint. He wasn't going to get rid of it. So everybody that is actually spending money on something has a reason, whether it makes sense to you and I or not, to you and me or not, they have a reason for doing what they're doing. The truth about traditional print, I think sometimes when we're in the social media world and the digital world, we start to think that everyone who isn't as cool as us and embracing all this new technology doesn't know anything. The truth of the matter is that there is a lot of value to be found in traditional marketing. I'm, again, not going to read all this stuff to you, but just personally, anything physical seems more real to us. It's easier for our brains to process. We trust something we can touch. We trust something we can go back to. I am still one of those people, especially if I'm trying to figure out directions of how to do something online, I print them out. I have to print them out so I can like check off of the ones as I go down the list, okay? People, there's just something different about the feel, the tactile experience of having something physical, right? Also, back to that whole trust issue, people are increasingly trusting less and less that they see on the internet, right? 76% of people trust what they get in the mail, 82% trust something they see in a newspaper or magazine. Only 25% say they trust a pop-up ad. That's important to know. It's important to know because, again, there is some value in it, but it's also important to know that my guess is these people that don't trust pop-up ads are getting pop-up ads from people they don't already have any familiarity or any relationship with. So when you are talking to your potential clients, if they say, well, I read that people don't even trust these pop-up ads and they don't even trust what's on the internet, they tend not to from sources that they're not familiar with. So you need to impress upon your client, and I'm so sorry, this is getting on my nerves, so that they need to let you do some video view ads and some things to warm them up. I found this extremely interesting. 25, and this, excuse me, is from a 2018 study. 95% of people under 25 still read physical magazines. Okay. Thought this was interesting stat. Is Magazine Publishers Association as well. The top 25 print magazines reach more adults and teens than the top 25 primetime shows. So print's not dead. Truth about television advertising, same sort of thing. People trust more on television than they trust online, and they feel like they can control better where their messages appear. And as a cautionary tale, Pepsi a few years ago pulled all of their money out of television and most other traditional ads and went strictly on digital. Within 3 months, they had lost enough market share to go back and put that money back in television. Direct mail, same sort of thing. Easier to understand, more memorable, okay? Now, you have to remember when you're talking to someone about advertising, it should always be a this and that, not a this or that proposition, okay? There are subtle ways, which I think is very interesting, that traditional and digital meet. And they, the two things that are just so obvious is if someone has a business card that has their logo on it, that's digital graphic meeting a physical product, okay? So people they're already mixing them even when they don't realize it. This is my favorite Art of War quote. So I am going to read this one. It says, and I love freaking the Art of War. If y'all haven't read it, you need to. If you know the enemy and you know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles. If you know yourself but not the enemy, for every victory gained, you will also suffer a defeat. If you know neither the enemy nor yourself, you will succumb in every battle. Now, I don't want you to think about traditional media as the enemy, but if you only know your part of the dance, if you're part of a proposition, you're not going to be successful nearly as much as if you understood both sides of that proposition. Here's why. Everything has an opposite and equal reaction, right? Every action, opposite and equal reaction. So for everything that someone will tell you about a magazine, someone's going to tell you something positive that's sort of the opposite about a blog post. Okay. People say, well, I bought an ad in this magazine because people keep magazines forever. They can reread them over and over again. They can keep them all decoratively, you know, in their house. And the opposite for that is someone's going to say, well, a blog post lives on the internet forever, right? Magazines, people say this again, magazines, if people still get newspapers. The barrier to the use of that is low because it's been requested and it's been delivered. The ads that we're showing to people online are typically not things that they've asked us to show them. They're things that they are being shown because they fit a set of criteria that we set out when we were putting those ads together. So that's sort of the yin and yang, if you will, of traditional versus digital. And you need to understand what the digital marketing people are saying to your prospect so that you know how to sell against that. Not sell against that by saying, oh my gosh, if you know, you don't want to buy that, blah, 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 blah. You don't ever want to talk bad about the thing they're already doing, okay? But if you know that they're hearing these things from the magazine people, then you know how to say things that sort of make them think, oh, I didn't think about that. Opposing that, or to give that a chance when it comes to the digital and the social media marketing. Does that make sense? If you don't know what other people are telling your folks, you have no idea how to give them better information to make a better decision with you. And I'm not moving. Hang on. It's all in how you say a thing. I've seen on several of these, several of us post, oh, you know, the Val Packs came today. I'm going to call all those people that got coupons because they're wasting their money, okay? They probably are. So if you say, hey, I see you're advertising the Val Pack. Social media is so much less expensive. It can target so much better. Can we set up a time to talk about it? You know what you're saying to them? You've told them they're stupid. You just said to them, oh, well, what I have is so much less expensive and can target so much better, which indirectly says you did a dumb thing. You chose the wrong thing. Nobody likes that, okay? You told them they overspent. You guys have any people that you're around and you just came in with a new car or something and you're like, oh, I got a great deal. It was this. They're like, oh please, you overspent. I could have got that for $5,000 less. You just want to kill them. You don't want to be around them. You're certainly not going to buy anything from them. And to quote a great Southerner, Harper Lee's character, Scout in To Kill a Mockingbird, Atticus had said it was the polite thing to talk to people about what they were interested in, not what you're interested in, okay? So talk to them about the thing that they already think is a good deal. Reinforce the fact that you think they're capable of making good buying decisions. Because who wants to make another buying decision if you've just told them that all their buying decisions are stupid? Okay? Back to knowing who you're selling against. As social media managers, we have a huge opportunity, okay? If a client cannot bridge the gap between what they're doing traditionally and what's available to them digitally, they are going to leave so much money on the table, okay? So much money on the table. And they're never going to be able to close the gap between their customers having the same experience with their brand online or offline. And if you aren't reaching people both places, again, you're leaving money on the table, especially when it comes to customer service. That's another thing that I want to just point out to you guys is when you are talking to someone about social media who is a die-hard traditional media person, don't try to convince them they're dumb. Ask them how often they hear from clients. Ask them how many testimonials they get. And ask them how many complaints they get. Because people right now are 4 times more likely to voice a concern or recommend a company digitally and socially than they are in a traditional way. So it may be that your opportunity to get them tiptoeing into social media and digital marketing from traditional marketing is to talk to them about it being a secondary or an ancillary customer service gap filler for them. Okay? And also, we talk about, Melanie and I have actually had some conversations about this halo effect, right? So multi-platform TV advertising can have a halo effect, which means it adds an extra something special to digital activities, an average of 18% of an ROI. Okay? So if you're showing the same content and recommending people across platforms to content, you're going to get an 18% boost off both of those things. Okay? So look at it, think about it this way. If I just get an email about something, maybe I'm 10% likely to act on that. If I just see a TV ad about something, maybe I'm 10% likely to act about that. But if I get both of those things together, all of a sudden I'm almost 40% likely to take action on that. That's like a large difference. You can also increase return on your investment. This study says by 19% if you go from one media platform to two. So if someone is saying to you, I advertise on television and I advertise on the radio, those are not going to have the same multi-platform increases that a digital plus a traditional product would have. Okay? Because the same audience that listens to both the radio and watches television probably tends not to do as much on social and vice versa. I listen to the radio in my car because I don't have a Bluetooth in my car. I listen to NPR. I also watch the news occasionally on broadcast television. And sometimes, I have my guilty pleasure show or two that I try to catch. So while I live digitally, I also watch things on television. Most of us do that, okay? If you have people putting their information across 5 platforms, they're 35% of a boost. Right now, TV and digital has the highest increase, okay? And if people are already producing television commercials, they already have video. So you can take their video and you can repurpose that 100 ways to Sunday. So while they may have a 30-second commercial that they can only run in that 30-second commercial film, blueprint, you can take that 30 seconds of video and you can make probably 10 different video ads by adding some voiceover, by putting some still shots in behind it, by doing some B-roll. So all of a sudden you've broken down that one barrier of, well, I already paid all this money for this TV commercial. Great. Let's make sure that you get the most for your money there. We can repurpose that. Okay. I thought this was a really interesting stat too. 15 years ago, the average consumer used 2 touch points when buying an item. Only 7 used more than 4. Now, 15 years ago, let's think about that. That was 2004. I vividly remember 2004, okay? Today, we use almost 6 touch points, and more than half of us use 4. Meaning, again, that we have to have information in various ways for us to take action on it. What are some places for you guys to start integrating them? What are some ways that you can start sort of tiptoeing them from one thing to the other? Events are one of the best ways to get someone who is not a huge believer in social media into the interest of social media. Between Eventbrite, Constant Contact has these capabilities. Obviously, Facebook has the capability, a whole event structure behind it. The ability to share information on digital is so much different than the ability to share information in person. So if I hear about a great event, I might tell a friend if I'm on the phone with them. I might mention it when I'm at a networking event, but there is no way that in the course of an hour, I would ever, and under any circumstances, have a reason to do this, or have the capability to invite or get that information to as many people as I could by simply going on Facebook and spending 5 minutes inviting some folks that I know are other apostles and influencers, and just putting that out to my page, my profile, that sort of thing. So think about events. If you see someone who is having an event and you do not see it on social media, or you do not see it being advertised on social media, that is a phone call for you to make. Okay. Get them on Google My Business. Get them on Google Maps. It's easy, it's free, it's quick. And if you take them to their insights, you will be able to say to them, well, nobody, blah, 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 really, because look, last month, 100 people pushed the call button to call your business, just riding around looking at you on their phone. Okay. Use digital to drive customers to articles in magazines or newspapers, or vice versa. Basically stack their wins, right? So I've done this. I've seen a lot of you guys do it. If we're featured on a blog, if we have an article featured in a magazine, we put that on social media. We're like, look, this is a great article I wrote. It's on this magazine. I'm so excited, right? We can drive people back to that physical magazine to look for that. So if a friend of mine said, hey, you know, I have an article in the Greater Raleigh magazine. It's on the shelves right now. It's free publication. I'd go pick it up to see their article, right? So think about how they can use digital to not only drive customers to see the things that they're doing in print, but to sort of have a stack their wins, build their authority moment. TV and radio ads are good and can drive people to a website or a digital contest. This is only going to work well if, one, their website is easy to remember. Okay, freesmiles.com, as opposed to George P. Hankerbuff and Associates at, you know, like, oh my God, I'm already, I don't know what that man's talking about, right? So don't set yourself or your clients up for failure on a traditional marketing platform because the things aren't in place the way they needed to be in the digital or social media space, okay? 2 things I want to tell you just really quickly as a caveat about TV and radio. For people who are using those, and again, they are not bad things to use. To be able to put ads on the radio or commercials on television at prime times is crazy expensive. Okay, crazy expensive. Second of all, you're never going to get the reach you want if you're only putting ads on one channel, or if you're only putting ads on one radio station. Because in the morning, I flip around. Who's playing the news right now? Who's doing a traffic update for me if I'm traveling that day, okay? Same thing with television. If I'm watching Good Morning America and somebody comes on I don't like or I'm not interested in, I'll pop over to see what's happening on NBC Today, right? So if you're just commercialing on one channel all the time, I don't care how targeted you think somebody is, it is the rare bird that only watches one TV channel and refuses to change it to anything else ever. No one can afford that unless they have more money than God. So what you might suggest is, what if we, what if we pull back a little bit on some of your other ads during the day? You can keep that drive time ad that's 20 times the cost of regular ad in an off time, but let's pull back that 10% of that flight budget that you're spending, and let's put that in digital and see what happens. Because prime time, Facebook is less time and more demographic, more target, okay? When you are looking at a broadcast, a radio, a television, that sort of thing, it is strictly a time-based thing. Other ideas to tiptoe your clients. Show them that you think they're smart and you understand their market. Be empathetic, and the worst thing that you can say to someone who tells you that they struggle with social media, oh, it's not hard, it's easy, everybody can do it, my kids do it. Not helping you, okay? Don't say that to them. Show them that you are impressed that they've built this business and run it for 50 years. Then you can just slide something in there like, how did your ads change when, you could start running color ads in the newspaper or something? Never come out and say, there's no way you've been in this business for 50 years and you haven't adjusted your marketing to keep up with the times. Never say that. Just throw something out there that makes them think of that themselves. Okay. Demonstrate that you have an understanding of marketing. Okay. If they say to you, I do this direct mail and it's worked for me all this time and I'm not doing anything else, say to them, you know what? You're smart to define something that works and to really try to maximize that. And I know a lot of people in your industry have success with what you're doing. I think that's great. Wouldn't change that. I have some ideas about how we can actually, though, for a little bit more money, get you a lot more out of that thing that's already working for you. Okay, but you can't do that if you don't know a little bit about what they're already doing. Okay. Use stories from your own life to demonstrate what you're talking about. Now, as a Southerner, everything's a story to me, and nothing is a short, bless your hearts, fabulous this, nothing short and easy. But people enjoy, it makes them feel more comfortable around you when you're selling them. If you show some personality and you show that you're personable. But sometimes you can highlight something, again, that doesn't tell them what to do, but leads them to the conclusion that you want them to come to. Okay. And again, back to that Google My Business, I cannot tell you enough how valuable that is. How valuable that is. Here's some other great ideas. For clients that use billboards, talk to them about geo tagging. You can do some geofencing things that when they come within a certain geographic area of a billboard, they get push notifications if they have Bluetooth on. You can also, if they have billboards down a certain part of the highway for their business or whatever, you can also choose in Facebook people that are visiting certain areas as opposed to live in those areas, and those ads can show up if they're roaming through Facebook. Okay. On Google My Business, if someone has a billboard that says, hey, if you get off here, this is the world's largest indoor whatever kind of market, world famous, right? Even when I see those billboards, most of us, especially the kids, still get their phone to flip up their map app because they have no sense of direction because they've never had to. Their Google My Business listing can have a free event notification. It can have free information about what they're going to see. Okay, so think about what you have that marries perfectly with what they're already doing. Okay. If you have someone who's doing radio, if they're doing like, especially if they're doing a drive time, which is really the only time radio is really important, drive time and late at night, talk to them about, you know, can you give me some free just run of schedule stuff if I'm buying this really expensive spot? Talk to them about, hey, every radio station has a website. Can you put some of my information on your website? What does that look like? How can I interact with you there? Can I have a click through to my business on your website, and can you give me those statistics? If they've already produced a radio spot for you, then take that radio spot, say, hey, you've got a great spot. I heard it on the radio myself. I think that spot would be great on Pandora or Spotify. All of us listen to that when we're working on our computers. The commercials are pretty inexpensive. We can do some really great targeting. Why don't we give that a try for a couple months and see what happens? I'd hate for this, you know, great spot you have to only be heard by people that are just listening to this one station right in the morning. You can also talk about using that spot as podcast advertising for them. Magazines are a freaking awesome thing, okay? If someone is advertising in magazines, and by magazines, mostly I'm talking about local or regional magazines, state magazines or regional magazines. They're always hosting events. They're always sponsoring things. They all have their own websites. And again, say to your client, well, I know that you really haven't had digital ads in the past. I know you have this great relationship with the ABC magazine. I would love to maybe put together just a little digital package, just a little boost package for what you're doing with them. How does that sound? Let's see what we can do about that. Okay. So I've talked really fast and I've tried to cover a lot of information. Does anybody have any ideas they want to add or any questions they want to ask? Y'all are killing me. Anybody, anything?
I don't have any questions right now, but man, oh man, did you just fill my brain with like a million ideas? This has been great in a good way, in a really good way. You just made like a, I don't know about that face. But no, this has been so helpful because I feel like as I've started to hop into the Facebook ads, I feel like I'm finally starting to get a good understanding of that. But I've never really understood the full picture of marketing behind it. So this has been probably one of the most helpful master classes I've been on, and I will for sure watch it again later when I don't have a 3-year-old playing YouTube behind my head.
That's sweet. Thank you. I appreciate that. I just think it's so important. The more you know, the more opportunities that your clients have to go ask other people for advice, the greater the likelihood that they're going to find somebody else who's going to sell them something that they want to buy. But if you can sell them what they want to buy, which at the end of the day is actually just feeling like they're making good decisions, and you've given them information that helped them decide they want to tiptoe into digital, not you've drugged them into digital. A lot of this is just selling. It's all in kind of how, like I said, it's all in how you say a thing. I just think it's really, really, really important because a lot of us lose clients, not because we don't do a good job, because somebody comes out else is whispering in their ear about something. And like I said, the more they come to rely on you and realize that you really do know a lot about a lot, and not only do you know a lot about things, but you know how to get the best of those things to work together for them, the less likely you are to lose them to somebody else. Does anybody else have any ideas or any questions or any thoughts or anything?
I guess I do kind of have a question now that you just said all that again.
Victoria, I'm going to have to send you $20. Okay, what is it?
You're going to what?
No, I'm teasing you. Tell me what's your question.
If you're offering all these other services other than Facebook ads, like how do you charge for that? You know, do you have like a recommended, I guess, kind of guide, or is it just kind of like all in one marketing package?
I think that it's a little of both. If you have someone who is resistant, or if you have someone that you're going after, you know, that like it's on your Dream 100 list, or someone that you really, really want to work with, right? And you notice that their Facebook ads aren't good or that they don't have any, and you start to talk to them about that, you want to just start sort of dropping little nuggets here and there that you understand other things. Whenever I start to work with a client, regardless of what I'm going to be doing for them, I always do an audit on all of their marketing. I say to them, do you do print? Do you mind sending me a copy of that? Do you send out email marketing? How often do you do that? Hey, do you have one of those you could forward to me? Because if I know that they send out an email marketing newsletter the 5th of every month, okay, and and every month they come out, they have a new event or they have a new product or something, and then they're hiring me to do Facebook ads, to then they might say, okay, well, we want to do these ads on the 5th because that's when my newsletter comes out. That's not what you want to do, okay? So say to them, you know what, I think it's a great idea that we use Facebook ads to, you know, increase the open rate and the interest in your newsletter and the cool things you're offering there. But, you know, what's your average open rate? Maybe they'll say 30-40%. I mean, that's a super great average open rate, right? Say, I bet if we were to maybe put something out about a week ahead and say, hey guys, be on the lookout Thursday because our monthly news, you know, our monthly updates are coming out, and we're announcing this, you know, our event. You want to get on it, like as soon as it comes out, you want to open it because we have limited spaces or whatever. If you start prepping people, does that make sense? If you start prepping people about that newsletter coming out, their open rate's going to go up. And I guarantee you, if it's even worded halfway decent, you're going to get some additional people sign up so that they get the newsletter to see what all the blah is about. Okay? And then you're going to have people who do what I do, bless their hearts, and they get all these newsletters and they want to read them and they just don't have time, and so they keep saving them, and then all of a sudden there's 100 of them in there and you're like, you know what, I'm just getting rid of these and starting over because they're coming every day, right? So what you also want to do with that Facebook ad is you want to come back about 5-6 days later and you want to say, hey, have you guys had a chance to read that yet? If it's still sitting in your inbox, you don't want to let it go because the special we talked about is only good through tomorrow night at midnight. So those are things that you can do if you're just doing their Facebook ads, when you get them to sort of tell you other things they're doing. And sometimes they won't tell you all the things they're doing off the bat. They don't want you to know they're spending $1 million doing all these other things, right? But, you know, they'll usually tell you one thing or two things. And when you can sit down and talk to them about that is awesome. Let's figure out ways that we can make that better. You know, how's your open rate? You want to try to work on that. How's your list growing? You want us to try to work on that. You know, is there something in that newsletter you're selling, or is there something you're taking registrations for? When they understand that you can come in and that what you're doing, you understand you're interested in helping their whole business, not just selling them Facebook ads, then they will start to give you more to do, and then your rates will increase. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I don't come out of the bat and say, yeah, you need to pay me $2,500 to a comprehensive marketing audit of everything you've done, because they're going to be like, no. But if I just go in and let them tell me, okay, fine, you can work on Facebook ads for me. But as I ask them questions and come back to them with ideas, that's when they start telling me the other things they do. And at that point, you can say, you know, I think you have so much good stuff going on. I feel like there's all these pieces of this really great puzzle, and you know, you've already put the border together and you filled in some chunks in the middle. I feel like if we could just put a couple of more pieces in here, that this would make a beautiful thing going forward. I would love to give you a comprehensive marketing audit. And what that means is I'm going to go through everything that you've done for the last year and take a look at sort of the timing of those things, how they flowed together, things that were successful, things that weren't as successful, the things you liked, blah, blah, blah. And then I can come back and we can maybe kind of plan out. I know we're not going to dive into everything at once. Like that doesn't make sense for you financially. And honestly, it doesn't make sense from us from the standpoint of kind of seeing how things go one at a time before we throw everything on the pile and then aren't sure which thing was really the thing that made the difference. Those are usually $2,500, but since we're working together, and since, I mean, you know, we've already talked about how we've already improved, you know, these things with your email marketing, I can roll that into your package for $1,500, and you can just pay that in increments over the next 6 months of your regular package or something like that. That's typically how I do it.
I like that. That's really creative. Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Anybody else? Well, thank you guys. I've really enjoyed it, and I get excited, in case you didn't notice, talking about all this stuff. So if anyone has any questions about anything, or you ever have a client who, you know, is putting all their money in one thing and you're just really not sure how to creatively kind of sell against that, please just shoot me an email or something. I'm happy to answer any questions or provide any kind of help that I might can. So thank you guys so much for being here. I appreciate it. Bye, everybody.